are many kinds of death. Some are better than others.
There's no discharge in the war.
What is up, everybody? Jeremy Eisenfire here, and welcome to the channel. After the controversial ending to 28 Years Later, many fans have been wondering just what exactly is the next film in the installment going to have in store for us, and how similar or different will it be from the first film in the new trilogy. With the introduction of the mysterious and controversial character of Jack O'Connell's Jimmy Crystal, many fans are left wondering where exactly is the story going to go from here, and what tone is the franchise going to take going forward. And today it looks like we are getting some of those answers, as we have our first official look at the Bone Temple, including some all-new stills and some details as to what to expect in the upcoming film. Our first new image is that of Dr. Kelson, aboard what could potentially be the same train we saw in 28 Years Later, but here it almost appears as though his hands are tied behind his back, indicating that he could have been taken captive by someone. And based on the new information we have recently got, we have a good idea as to who that could be. Although there's also the possibility that his hands are simply behind his back in this scene and he's nobody's captive, especially considering he still has his blow dart on his shoulder. Dr. Kelson is said to be heavily featured in the sequel, much more so than even in the first film, as the Bone Temple is set to explore some of his backstory, something I'm sure many fans will want to learn more about. The next new still we get is that of the Alpha himself, Samson, played by Chi Lewis Parry, as we see a shot of him kneeling by a river and letting out a loud roar. And while it's unknown as to what kind of role the Alpha is going to play in the sequel, we do get some limited information on his character, and how his backstory with Dr. Kelson will also be explored in the film. The Alpha was certainly one of the most interesting characters coming out of 28 Years Later, and gave us a unique first-hand look at what the virus has done to certain people over the course of the last few decades, and how it has evolved. So if nothing else, it should be interesting to see where his storyline goes from here. But up next, we also have a brand new image of Jimmy Crystal and the Jimmy Gang. The character of Jimmy Crystal was first introduced to us at the tail end of 28 Years Later, which also served as a setup for the sequel, The Bone Temple. And according to Danny Boyle, the Jimmies go on to dominate a good portion of the second film, as here we see a shot of the Jimmies in what appears to be the center of the Bone Temple at night. And this could also explain the first image that we saw, with what looks to be Dr. Kelson with his arms tied behind his back, almost as though he was someone's captive, or potentially Jimmy's captive. After all, on top of these all-new images, we also have some interesting new details as to what we can expect in the film as well. And it looks like Dr. Kelson and the Jimmy Gang are going to be on a collision course, with Spike caught in the middle. Amongst all of this new information, we are also learning that Spike is forced to join the Jimmy Gang, which is undoubtedly going to put him in a very precarious position if the Jimmy Gang is on a collision course with Dr. Kelson, as Kelson and Spike have developed a friendship of sorts. But it certainly appears that they are setting up Spike to have to make a choice between the two by the end of the film. The sequel itself is described as bonkers and a bit deranged. The Bone Temple looks to expand the franchise in a big way, not just in scale, but also in tone and philosophy. And it looks like we're going to see two very different schools of thought throughout the film. With the focus on characters like Dr. Kelson and the Jimmy Gang, we are going to see two very different visions on what it takes to survive in a world like this, with one being clinical and obsessed, and the other being chaotic and cultish. And I'll leave it to you to guess which is which. And in the midst of all the chaos, we'll have Spike acting as an emotional and narrative bridge between the two films, as he reportedly grounds the film in reality, as it continues to get stranger, darker, and more unpredictable. And while we don't know much about Aaron Taylor Johnson's character in the sequel, I have to imagine he is going to be searching for his son Spike throughout the film. And while there's also no official word on what Cillian Murphy's role is going to be in the film, we do know that he is set to appear in the Bone Temple. But I imagine we're not going to see a whole lot of him in this second installment, with him most likely appearing at the end and setting up the third film, as according to Danny Boyle, Cillian Murphy's gym is going to be the main focus of the third film, of which Danny Boyle plans to direct himself, with this second installment, The Bone Temple, being directed by Nia DaCosta, which does give me a little bit of hesitancy as I have not been a huge fan of her films in the past. But I am certainly at least going in with an open mind, hoping that it's going to be a good film. And on top of the new images and information, we also have a few statements from Nia DaCosta herself as well. As she states, the concept of the rage virus gives the opportunity to really talk about humanity, and talks about the movie being about the nature of evil, and how we contextualize that in a world with many different belief systems, and states that a look at what humanity does to one another is one of her favorite parts of the genre. Which sounds all well and good, but does make me a little bit nervous when she then goes on to say that she's going to make this film her own, and isn't attempting to make a Danny Boyle-style movie, as that's impossible to do. And while I totally understand not wanting to produce a Danny Boyle lookalike, it does make me a tad nervous when she states she wants to make this film her own, given her track record in filmmaking thus far. But I guess we'll have to just wait and see what's really in store for The Bone Temple this January. And on top of all the new stills and information, we also got confirmation that a full trailer will be dropping tomorrow, on Wednesday, which will give us a much better look at the film. And we, of course, will be right here breaking down every frame of it. But that is going to do it for our breakdown of the first look at the upcoming Bone Temple. And definitely leave your thoughts and comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like on your way out and consider subscribing to stay up to date on all of our upcoming 28 Years Later content. And as always, I want to give a big thank you to everybody out there for watching, and a huge thank you to all the channel members, and we will see you on the next one.
There's no discharge in the war.